1, 2, 3. My name is Bethany, and I am the singer/guitarist of Best Coast. I was just asked to DJ this awesome event. I'm familiar with this museum and Brightest Young Things because I play in DC like fairly often. I was just down to do some sort of like women sort of like focus event. I prepared an all-girl DJ set, so I'm excited about that too. So we're touring with the Go-Go's in the summer. We're doing like a couple of shows kind of here and there, but for the most part, we're like taking a little bit of like chill time. We toured a lot last year and the beginning of this year. So just sort of like at home, hanging out. I've been doing a lot of stuff kind of outside the band. Yeah, it's nice to sort of like slow down a little bit. One of my biggest influences, probably like all across the board, is Beyonce. I just saw her live like last weekend and it was mind-blowing. Like just what she does as a performer and also like the message that she sends to such a huge audience, I think is something really important that not a whole lot of pop stars are doing, so it's really cool to see that. But as far as sort of like female like punk and kind of stuff like that, the Go-Go's, the Bangles, sort of like Susie and the Banshees, Blondie, the Primitives, kind of like all that stuff sort of from like that 80s, 90s era. So I feel like I would really just like to see people being a bit less careless, like when it comes to sort of the message that they're sending out. I don't think that like art is necessarily to be policed. I do think that it is like you have the freedom of expression. Given that pop culture is so influential to so many people, especially young kids, I think people should be like a little bit wiser for what they're singing about, the context it can be taken into, but also the industry in general. Just like the creeps in the music industry really need to like decreep themselves. Like I say, it exists in so many different industries, but in the music industry, I feel like it's very prevalent. No, not really. It's funny, up until like maybe 2 months ago, I wear glasses, but I started wearing contacts. And so on stage, I would never wear glasses, and since I didn't have contacts, I literally couldn't see even the front row. So I think like that it kind of allows me to feel like less nervous, less stressed out when I can't see everything. But I do enjoy the intimate like vibe of a small space. But I think depending on where I am, like what mood I'm in, playing like a big festival or a big huge venue can also be like equally as gratifying. I grew up going to shows. Like I started going to shows probably when I was like 11 or 12. I would go to like punk shows, so I was very actively like in the mosh pit and all of that. And I remember tons of like men, old men too, like touching me in inappropriate ways, or like if you're crowd surfing, there's always like somebody grabs you inappropriately. You know, it's very unnecessary. Not to mention a concert is a place where you're supposed to feel comfortable and comfortable to like express yourself and be who you are. Have that interjected into the atmosphere is just like really wrong, and that's why I was really excited when I heard that this was like an organization, especially started by young girls, because it is a really important thing that people should be aware of. I think in venues it absolutely is. I always see it more in like someone that works at a venue than it would be like somebody that like tours with me or tours with someone in a band that's with us or that we're opening for, because they have to be very professional. But I think when you walk into a venue and there's a house sound guy or a lighting guy, sometimes they're like, oh, who's the chick? Or they assume that you're like dating one of the dudes in the band, or you're a groupie. I don't know that it's necessarily like that has to do with the fact that they're not trying to do more about making sure young women are being protected at shows. I think it's also just there's such a stigma of like, oh, the girl that cried wolf. It's like people need to take these accounts seriously, and the reason probably that none of this stuff is being taken care of necessarily on a case-by-case basis is because of the fact that it's like, oh, she's being dramatic, or she's crazy, she's a girl, or like, or she wore a short skirt so she deserved it. It's just like that mentality like needs to go away. I mean, I would say that they could just be more, be more sympathetic, or try and pay more attention to what's going on. If there is a young girl that comes up to them and says, I felt uncomfortable, there was a guy that did something, you need to take that seriously. Maybe like do something where you separate the girl from where she was. I mean, we had a show where there was a girl that complained multiple times that a guy was like grabbing her butt, and my tour manager went out into the crowd, found the guy, and like had him personally thrown out. Even if you only hear that girl's side of the story, you need to believe it. And I think that security companies and venues need to just start taking a woman's word completely seriously. I feel like it's like shows and stuff are supposed to be a place where you can go and feel safe and comfortable, and I would just say like stand up for yourself, but also don't feel discouraged to like stop going to shows, because it's like not every man is bad, we all know that. And there are also women that will grope other women, it's not necessarily just a man. But I think it's just like stand up for yourself. If something happens, either tell that person like, hey, don't do that, and then if they're not listening, you need to go tell some sort of authority. Don't let it discourage you from going and continuing like loving live music and going and doing the whole thing. You're jerks. It's really like boggles my mind that people just, especially men, like just think that it's like, oh, there's a woman, a female figure, there's a butt, I'm just gonna grab it, And then you always think like if somebody did that to a man, then it would most likely become like a fight or some sort of altercation. So be a nice guy. I have a lot of thoughts on it. It's really frustrating for me to be a 30-year-old woman and to see that there is still so much of like what my mother and my grandmother and my great-grandmother were fighting for, to see that there's still so much of it that happens, to see that like in this political campaign, like there is so much that like people are trying to take away from women. I was just talking to my friend about this the other day. It's like women haven't even had the right to vote for 100 years. Like that's insane to me. Obviously it takes a man and a woman to procreate, but if there were no women, no one would be here. So treat women with respect and treat them just the same way you would treat your male friend or anybody. Don't stop fighting and use your voice for good, and I will, not shut up anytime soon until I see things change, which is hopefully soon. So. Hi, I'm Bethany. I'm in West Coast, and I proudly support Girls Against.